What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Now, if you haven't watched last week's video, you need to go check it out, because last week we swapped some Mustang GT seats in the Bronco and they turned out super sick. I'm really excited to test them out and see how they feel, but we're still battling high idling issues on this thing and we couldn't figure it out. I got a couple free parts from my buddy who had a parts engine, and I swapped a couple things. The throttle body with the idle control valve and the throttle position switch, that was all swapped as one assembly. I also made a block off plate for the EGR. It was still idling really high, and I don't know why. So I gave up on it last weekend, and this weekend I was gonna dive into it. But what happened was I took the battery out of this thing to roll up the windows of my Audi that I had behind the thing. And once I did that, I put the battery back in, fired this thing up, and it started idling fine. I don't know what happened. I guess the ECU just needed to reset, but check this out. All right, watch this. Oh, it's climbing a little bit. So that tells me we actually have an ECU problem if it was a computer reset. Or we had bad sensors before and the ECU didn't notice that we replaced them because I never disconnected the battery when I did that job. Hopefully this is good news. So right now what I want to do is swap the power steering pump I got from my buddy. And then once we get that swapped, we'll let this truck just sit in the driveway and idle and see what she does. There we go. Okay. 18. Probably not. Probably bigger. Way bigger. Like a 21. Oh, 22, I guess. 24. Wait, I do have a smaller 24? I do. Yeah. Okay. There's the leak I was looking for. Okay. Now we're gonna move this AC compressor out of the way. And then I believe it's just 3 bolts to hold on this whole bracket. And I have an entire an assembly, so this will be easy. All right, let's see where we can move this out of the way. Okay. Are these also 13? No. Is that one a stud? That is. Is that the same size as this? Okay. That's loose as hell. Oh yeah. I knew those were gonna be tight. Oh no. Oh, it turned, okay. Oh, that bitch just rounded. I was really concerned. Interesting. Is it because it's on the stud? Why is it just sitting there? Oh, I'm missing that one. Oh. Oh. So I just ran into a pretty big snag. The power steering lines don't match up. the power steering pumps out of an OBS, newer model than this Bronco. So the lines don't match up. It is, let's see, as you can see, threads are a lot bigger than that nut. So luckily the parts truck that I pulled this out of is actually still around. My buddy pulled the engine from another buddy's truck, so I'm gonna hit him up, see if I can grab that line tomorrow. Hopefully the gearbox's threads are compatible. If not, maybe I'll grab the gearbox too, because that also doesn't look like it leaks. So it'll be kind of a job, but it'll be okay. So yeah, we're at a standstill on this until tomorrow, unfortunately. So let's fast forward to tomorrow. Alrighty, we are back. I made it back from my buddy's house. Got some parts that I needed, plus a bunch of extras. So the parts truck didn't have any axles of it. I should have videoed it because it was just sitting in blocks on the driveway, but it had no drivetrain. It had no axles, it had nothing underneath. So it didn't have the gearbox either, which means it also didn't have that power steering line. But dude hoards a bunch of OBS stuff, so I was able to get a Power Stroke power steering line, which is way bigger. Let's compare these two real quick. So you can see the Bronco one's way smaller, and this kind of just sits like this to the gearbox. So this might be a little tricky to get in, but I think we can finesse it so long as this matches up. So let's see if this fits first of all. And then after that, we'll talk about the other free goodies that I got from my buddy. Alrighty, so good news, we got that to fit in there. It does fit a little different, but check it out. So as you can see, it's got a much longer line. I guess it needed like extra cooling or something because of that loop down there for the Power Stroke. Now we're ready to put the belt on and fill this thing up with power steering fluid, and hopefully she doesn't leak. Okay, that's at perfect level. It's probably gonna drop immediately once I turn this thing on, but we'll turn this thing on. Keep your eye right here. If it leaks on this line right here, let me know. Holler at me, leave a comment. Hopefully you guys don't fall off as soon as the truck starts, but let's see what happens. Alrighty, power steering is charged up. Hopefully that whine goes away. I hate the Ford whine. Usually that whine comes from people putting power steering fluid in their reservoir when they actually need ATF. So I don't know why that one's whining. I've never put power steering fluid in my stuff. It's always been ATF. So hopefully it's just got air bubbles that's working out, but it seemed to have quieted down. Unfortunately, the idle's still messed up. I have a vacuum leak. I can hear it. I can hear it whistle when the idle changes. So we're gonna dive into that, but we need to get this thing out of the garage to do that because it got a little stinky. But since we got that done, as promised, let's go over the free stuff I got from my buddy. What we have here is a set of brand new injectors for my Bronco. So it does turn out that the truck did have new injectors. They were just in the toolbox and not actually installed on the engine. Besides one. This one was installed, remember we saw this last week, but now I have 7 more in brand new packaging, brand new caps, everything. So that is so sick. Shout out to my buddy Austin Thomas for hooking me up with these. I think he's got a couple Instagrams that I'll link down below. He's got a bunch of OBS 7.3s, bunch of cool ones. Yeah, he's just got a bunch. I'll throw some pictures up on the screen. I don't know if he knows this, but when I was a kid, he was a huge motivation of me to get into OBSs. Like I watched his truck around town and stuff, and he made me want to buy an OBS Power Stroke for sure. So yeah, super cool guy. Go check him out. I also got a radiator from him. I don't know why. I was looking at it, it looked clean. He was like, take it. It definitely looks like it's in better condition than my radiator, but my radiator's fine. If it starts overheating, or it still was running super hot, then maybe I'll swap it out, but I have a spare one just in case. All right, let's back this thing out a little bit. I got the GoPro up top. guess we went all the way out. That's okay. I don't know if we should do that every time or not. I don't think that's a good idea. Damn. Well, I guess I should have been looking in front of me while I was backing the Bronco out of the garage because we left a trail. Let me show you what happened. So as you can see, we're dripping power steering fluid from pretty much everywhere. Diff's covered in power steering fluid. It's a mess. When I looked at it, it looked like we were bubbling out of this line here. So something happened with that. I don't know what. Hopefully it's compatible, because this is starting to tell me it's not. So I'm gonna start there first, because that's really upsetting. Alrighty, so we definitely need a new power steering line. It's kind of unfortunate. I'll go to the junkyard tomorrow. They're already closed, so can't really do anything about it tonight, but for the sake of trying to keep a video going, I'm gonna try and still find the vacuum leak. It's gonna be a little difficult, because if the pump runs dry, the truck's gonna go under a little more load and pick up an RPM. So I'm gonna chase my vacuum leaks with the old brake cleaner trick. While the truck's idling, spray the brake cleaner around in certain areas that could cause a vacuum leak. And if the idle increases, that means brake cleaner got into the system and ignited more. Idling high again. Oh, calm down, that's weird. Still idling a little high. Oh, we're leaking power steering fluid. See that? Alright, I'm gonna kill it. That might just be from power steering. Alrighty, y'all, clearly we can't go any farther on this thing until we get a new power steering line. I thought about going to the junkyard, but I found out the high pressure lines are actually really cheap. They're like 14 bucks, so can't really confirm or deny if the idle issue's fixed. It seems to be running better, but it's hard to tell with the power steering leak, and I don't want to run that pump dry because it's a good pump. With that being said, let's just fast forward a little bit.
Tomorrow.
I went to the O'Reilly's hub and picked up a power steering line from there. This was 35 bucks. The Bronco is really close to idling good, and I'm hopeful that I swap in this line and it actually starts idling good. I'm not 100%, but that's what I'm hoping for, and that's what I'm gonna try and do. Let's get this line swapped out. Do some YouTube magic right here. Alrighty, she's swapped in there. Got her topped off with power steering fluid. I overfilled it a little bit because I know this line needs to get filled back up. So let's check for leaks. Leave a comment if you see a leak. Okay, looks like we're good. Didn't see any leaks. The truck's idling good. I'm excited. I think we fixed the idling issue. I'm gonna make sure the power steering fluid's at its appropriate level. We're gonna get this thing outside. We're gonna air up the tires. We're gonna go drive it around and see if it really truly fixed the idle. Alrighty. We got the Bronco outside. It started idling high again after I pulled it out, but the pump started whining a little bit, so I just topped off a little bit more power steering fluid. I think it's now considered hot, so I had to go up on the dipstick to the hot level, and the idling doesn't seem to come down. It'll idle when I first fire it up, and then if I rev on it, it'll come up and it'll only go back down to like 1100, 1500. I might need to adjust the idle set screw a little bit, but I want to factor out all options first. On the plus side, I bagged the whole thing out and I don't have a trail of power steering fluid from where I was from.
A few moments later.
Okay, I'm gonna sit and adjust that idle screw for a little bit because now I'm getting it repetitive. I'm getting it to idle down a little bit. So I'm gonna inflate the tires up so we can go drive. And then I'm also gonna adjust the idle and see what happens after that. So I'll update you guys once that's done. Adjusting the throttle didn't really do anything. I got the thing pretty much almost all the way down to the point where it didn't even like go past the set screw. So that means there's still a vacuum leak. There's still air coming in somewhere else that's making it idle high. The brake clean trick is not working. So I'm gonna probably go to my buddy's shop and run a smoke machine on it. We'll see what happens. We should at least go drive it around, fill the new Mustang seats. So yeah, let's go drive this thing around at least. Alrighty. Let's see how this thing does. I'll tell you what, the power steering is definitely better than it ever has been. This stuff feels so good. I've never had the power steering this good. So, that's really cool. She's idling high again. See that? I've been coasting in neutral for a while and it's just 1,500 RPMs. It definitely goes through the RPMs a lot better. We're getting really close, guys. It's not sputtering randomly anymore. It's definitely better. The steering's a lot tighter now too. I'm kind of like all over the road now, so I gotta do something. I don't know what I gotta do with that. Like I need my steering column to tighten up now or something. Yeah, so much better. Alrighty, y'all. She's idling good. She's running through the gears good. So we fixed something. We still have a vacuum leak though, I'm pretty sure. So, like I said before, I'll probably go to a smoke machine and get that cleaned up. The seats feel really comfy. I haven't felt them like just casually slowing down. I never had that issue, but I'm sure it'll be a problem on the trail, like going like on a downhill or something. So I'll figure out how to reenact that somewhere. But so far it's really nice. With the seats and with what we fixed, the power steering's better than it's ever been. So at least there was some victories this weekend for sure. But yeah, with that being said, that's gonna be it for this one, guys. Thanks for watching. We'll see y'all next week. Peace.